Welcome, lovely viewersome. So glad you're here tonight. We'll take a slow, unhurried walk through a place where time feels as if it has stopped. The ancient heart of the Hittite Empire, their capital. Hattusa. You don't need to pack anything, just bring your curiosity and a willingness to drift along at a pace that is neither fast nor slow, but calm, steady, as the moon crossing the night sky. The world outside can wait. Let your shoulders drop, feel still, as you settle into a comfortable position. Know that the next 2 hours will be yours, to wander through a city that once thrived more than 3,000 years ago. Our stroll will begin in the quiet of early morning, with the first light stretching across the Anatolian hills where stone walls and carved gates stand silent, and every breath of wind carries whispers from the past. So, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, let's begin our walk together. Hittite Empire, an ancient kingdom that rose in the rugged lands of central Anatolia. In what is now the heart of modern-day Turkey, it was a place of stone and sun, where rolling hills and rocky plateaus stretched far into the horizon. The Hittites built their power here, in the crossroads between east and west, trading with the Babylonians, negotiating with the Egyptians, and weaving themselves into the very history of the ancient world. Their capital, Hattusa, was more than a city. It was the mind and the heartbeat of the empire, a fortified seat of kings, surrounded by walls that seemed to rise straight out of the earth itself. Inside those walls lived thousands of people, scribes, craftsmen, priests, traders, farmers, and soldiers, each playing their part in the rhythm of a city that never truly slept. In its time, Hattusa was a place of ceremony and power. Great temples rose toward the sky, their stones carved with gods and animals. Royal processions moved slowly through wide avenues, and in the markets, the air was filled with the scent of fresh bread, crushed herbs, and warm clay. But tonight won't rush through the history. We'll move quietly, as if we are visitors from a dream, allowed to pass unseen through the streets and gateways, free to take in the city's beauty without the press of time. Our walk begins at the Great Southern Gate, where two immense lions keep watch, just as they have for centuries. The first steps inside the walls feel unhurried, as if the city itself is still stretching, still waking from a long night's rest. The streets here are made of worn stone, their surfaces uneven, smoothed by centuries of footsteps. The light is still soft, a pale gold that seeps over the rooftops, spills in long, gentle shadows across the ground. Somewhere close by, water drips rhythmically into a clay jar. From a courtyard, the low murmur of voices rises and fades, traders preparing their carts for the market. The scent of baking bread drifts past, mingling with the cool, fresh smell of the morning air. We walk slowly, our footsteps echo faintly against the stone, each sound absorbed by the stillness that hangs over the city. Here, every detail feels alive. The faint cracks in the walls, the flutter of a bird's wings overhead, the whisper of wind slipping between narrow alleys. It is a quiet that soothes, rather than silences, like a gentle breath that carries you forward. We take our time, Theers. No need to rush. Every street in Hattusa has a story to tell, and tonight, we have all the time in the world to listen. The first light of day creeps over the Anatolian hills, turning the sky from deep blue into a soft, golden haze. Ahead, the southern gate of Hattusa rises from the earth, a fortress of stone, its presence both imposing and calm. The walls are immense, built from heavy blocks fitted so precisely thought. They seem to have grown together over the centuries. Lichen and moss trace faint lines across their surfaces, proof of long years under wind, sun, and rain. Flanking the entrance are two great lions, carved from single slabs of stone. Their bodies are powerful, their paws planted firmly in the earth. The manes curl in patterned ridges, each lock of hair rendered with a sculptor's patient hand. Their eyes, deep and watchful, seem to follow you no matter where you stand. We pause at the base of the gateway, feeling its shadow stretch across the ground. The air here is cooler, the stone holding the night's chill of in as sunlight begins to spill down its face. Stepping closer, you notice how smooth parts of the stone have become polished by the hands of countless travelers, merchants, soldiers, kings, and pilgrims. Each touch, each passing moment, has left a mark that the stone remembers. We pass beneath the arch, between the lions who have guarded this threshold for over 3 millennia, and as we step into the city, it feels as though we have crossed not just into another place, but into another time. Passing beneath the watchful lions, we step into the quiet embrace of the city. The roads here are pale with dust, their surfaces worn by years of carts and sandals. In the stillness of early morning, the dust hangs low in the air, softened by the golden light that slips between the rooftops. Merchants are only just beginning to set up for the day. A man in a long tunic arranges rows of clay jars along a low wooden bench, each one catching the light on its curved surface. Nearby, a woman unfolds a piece of woven cloth, shaking it gently so that the pattern comes alive in the morning sun. The air carries a mix of scents: freshly baked bread, cool damp stone, and the faint tang of olives from a basket beside one stall. We walk slowly, our footsteps muffled by the dust, pausing to watch as another merchant rolls open a leather pouch filled with beads of bright blue lapis and soft green jasper. He holds them up to the light, examining their colors as though greeting old friends. The soundscape here is gentle, the creak of wooden wheels as a cart is pushed into place, the soft thud of a basket set on the ground, the quiet murmur of traders greeting one another after the long night. It is the city's first breath of the day, and we are walking within it, beyond the bustle of the market street. The road narrows into quieter lanes. Here, the city softens, its voice low, its movements unhurried. Clay brick houses rise on either side, their walls sun-baked to a warm, earthy tone. Wooden beams jut from the upper edges, holding roofs that are flat and neatly packed with clay. Some houses have small niches, carved into the walls, where pottery sits like silent sentinels. In one courtyard, a woman kneels beside a low stone basin, rinsing fresh herbs in cool water. The sound is gentle, a soft swirl, a drip, the faint brush of leaves against her fingers. Further along, a narrow doorway opens to reveal a shaded room where the air smells faintly of stored grain and fresh rushes. On the floor from inside comes the faint coo of a pigeon, its wings fluttering once before settling again. We walk slowly, noticing the small details that make this place feel alive. The delicate patterns pressed into a clay jar, drying in the sun. The footprint of a dog in the dusty path. The way laundry sways lightly in the morning breeze. Here, the city breathes in long, peaceful rhythms. It is a place not of ceremony or power, but of quiet lives being lived, just as they were centuries ago. The narrow lanes begin to widen, and the stillness of the residential quarter gives way to a gentle hum of activity. We step into the market street, where the air is already warm with the scent of fresh bread and crushed herbs. A light breeze carries the aroma of cinnamon, cumin, and dried mint, mingling with the earthy smell of sun-warmed stone. Stalls line both sides of the road, low wooden tables, reed mats spread neatly, and baskets overflowing with figs, dates, and pomegranates. A trader pours dried saffron into a small jar, the bright strands glowing like threads of gold in the morning light. The voices here are soft, not the hurried calls of a crowded marketplace, but the slow, easy rhythm of neighbors speaking to neighbors. A merchant greets a woman carrying a clay jug, and they share a quiet laugh before she moves on. We pass a potter shaping a vessel on his wheel, the clay spinning gently under his hands. Each turn is unhurried, his fingers smoothing the surface with a patience that feels as old as the city itself. Somewhere, A child's laughter rings out, brief, bright, and full of life, before being carried away by the warm breeze. The market is not yet full, but its heart is already beating softly, drawing us deeper into the city's living story. The market street narrows again, guiding us toward a quieter part of the city. The sounds change here, less chatter, more of a steady rhythm, as if the very air turns in a slow, circular motion. This is the pottery district. Rows of workshops line the lane, their wide doorways open to let in the morning light. Inside, the scent of damp clay hangs in the air, cool and earthy, like rain on dry soil. From one shop comes the low, steady sound of a potter's wheel, a soft whir, the faint creak of wood, and the gentle hiss of wet clay sliding beneath practiced hands. The man at the wheel works without hurry, his focus as steady as the turning itself. In the corner, shelves are lined with drying vessels, tall jars, broad bowls, and small cups with curved lips meant for pouring. Each one carries the imprint of the potter's fingers, a quiet mark of the human hand left for centuries to come. Outside, a woman arranges finished pieces on a mat, letting the sun warm the glaze until it shines softly. A little boy, perhaps her son, rolls a ball of clay between his palms, shaping it into something only he can imagine. We walk slowly down the lane, the smell of clay and smoke weaving together, the sound of turning wheels fading and returning as we pass each open doorway. It is a place of creation and of patience. The pottery district gives way to a wide open courtyard, and ahead, rising gently from the stone-paved ground, is the great temple complex of Hattusa. Its walls are massive, built from smooth, pale blocks that catch the sunlight and seem to glow softly in the morning air. Along the lower edges, carved stone reliefs depict gods, animals, and sacred symbols, their outlines worn but still clear, as if the stories they tell are too important to fade. The air here feels different, still, yet alive, as though the stones themselves are aware of our presence. From within the temple, a faint thread of incense drifts outward, carrying the scent of cedar, myrrh, and crushed herbs. It lingers in the air, mixing with the cool breath of the shaded courtyard. Priests in long belted robes move quietly, their sandals whispering against the stones. One pours a libation from a small jug into a shallow basin, the liquid catching the light before vanishing into the carved channel below, in a side passage. We glimpse a narrow chamber lined with offerings, clay figurines, bronze vessels, and small dishes of grain left for the gods. A flicker of torchlight dances across the walls, bringing the carved figures to life for just a moment. We walk slowly past the reliefs, tracing their patterns with our eyes, and for a while, it feels as though we are walking through a story that began long before us, and will continue long after we are gone. Leaving the temple's quiet sanctity behind. We follow a broad, sloping avenue with it, leads toward the heart of Hattusa. The stones underfoot are smooth from centuries of footsteps, priests, merchants, messengers, and foreign envoys all taking this same path, toward the seat of the king. The air here feels subtly different, more formal, more watchful. At the crest of the road, the palace walls rise above us. Strong and imposing, built from great blocks of limestone ethics, seem to hold the weight of authority in their very presence. Wide gates stand open, but flanked on either side by tall, broad-shouldered guards. They wear bronze helmets that gleam softly in the morning light, their cheek plates catching each golden ray. Short, sleeved tunics fall over belted waists, and in their hands rest long spears, held with quiet discipline. As we pass, their eyes follow us, not with suspicion, but with the calm, steady gaze of those who have stood their post countless times before. Beyond the gates, a vast forecourt stretches toward the palace entrance, its paving stones arranged in neat, deliberate lines. Courtiers move with purpose here, scrolls and wax tablets in hand, while messengers hurry, toward side passages, their sandals tapping briskly against the stone. The breeze carries the faintest scent of oil lamps and fresh-cut wood from within the palace halls, hinting at the life inside, at decisions being made, treaties being sealed, and stories that will shape the empire's fate. We move forward slowly, letting the sound of our own footsteps merge with the low hum of palace life. Stepping away from the palace's bustling forecourt, we find ourselves entering a quieter, greener world. The stone path softens here, giving way to packed earth, bordered by low hedges. A gentle fragrance drifts in the air, sweet, warm, and faintly tangy. It comes from rows of pomegranate trees, their dark leaves rustling softly in the light breeze. The fruit, heavy and round, hangs like little lanterns, their skins blushing red and gold in the sunlight. Some have split open, revealing clusters of ruby seeds that glisten like tiny jewels. Bees hum lazily between the blossoms, their sound steady and soothing, a small rhythm in this calm oasis. Here and there, gardeners tend to the beds, stooping low to clear weeds, their hands practiced and unhurried. Stone basins filled with clear water reflect the swaying branches above. A few doves gather at the edges, dipping their beaks in the water before taking flight, their wings whispering through the warm air. The palace walls rise behind us, but here, they feel far away, in this space. It is as if time slows down completely, the affairs of state set aside, leaving only the sound of leaves, the hum of bees, and the slow breath of the earth itself, leaving the soft greenery of the palace gardens. We walk along a narrow lane that slopes gently downward. The air grows cooler here, and soon the shimmering surface of water comes into view. The city's reservoirs are wide and still, their edges lined with carefully cut stone blocks. The surface ripples ever so slightly, catching the morning light in broken glimmers, gold one moment, silver the next. A lone duck drifts across, its movement sending small circles outward, each one fading slowly into the stillness. On the far side, a row of willows leans toward the water, their long green strands brushing the surface. Every so often, a leaf detaches and drifts away, its slow journey mirrored in the glassy reflection. The air smells faintly of damp earth and fresh stone. Somewhere nearby, a jar tips gently into the water as a woman fills it, the sound of liquid echoing softly against the stone walls. Looking down, the reflections of the city's towers seem to sway in the water's quiet embrace. Here, the hum of the streets feels far away. Here, only the water speaks in ripples, in soft glints, and in the hush that follows every breath. From the cool edge of the reservoirs, we follow a narrower street, its stones worn smooth by countless footsteps. The air here feels warmer, and carries with it a faint metallic scent. Soon, the soft rhythm of hammer against metal reaches our ears, not the sharp clang of battle forging, but the measured, gentle taps of skilled hand shaping something with care. Craftsman's alley stretches before us, a place where artisans have worked for generations. In one open front workshop, a bronzesmith bends over his work, his face lit by the glow of a small charcoal fire. The orange light flickers on the curve of a new spearhead, still cooling in its mold. Farther along, a goldsmith sits cross-legged on a mat, holding a tiny chisel dot with delicate precision. He carves intricate swirls into a thin sheet of gold, a design that will soon adorn a necklace fit for a noble's feast. There's a quiet harmony to this place. The tapping of hammers, the soft hiss of quenching metal in water, the gentle shuffle of sandals on stone, all merge into a slow, steady rhythm. On the walls, you notice hanging tools, each worn smooth at the handle from years of use. These are not just objects here. They are extensions of the artisan's hands, passed down from master to apprentice, generation after generation. The alley smells of heated bronze, wood smoke, and something faintly sweet, perhaps, from a baker's stall just around the bend. We linger, for a moment, watching a young boy bring his father a fresh strip of leather. The pride in his eyes mirroring the quiet pride that fills this street. As the day leans gently into evening, the light softens to a warm golden haze. Shadows stretch long across the streets of Hattusa, and the hum of the city begins to quiet. We find ourselves approaching the heart of the sacred district. The great temple rises before us, its massive stone walls still holding the day's warmth, their surfaces etched with carvings of gods, kings, and ancient symbols whose meanings hum quietly in the air. Tall columns stand like sentinels, their tops catching the last fire of the sunset. The vast bronze doors are closed now, but not in silence, for around the temple, torches have been lit. Their flames dance and sway in the evening breeze, casting a soft, wavering glow over the flagstones. Shadows ripple across the carved reliefs, making the stone figures seem almost alive. The scent of burning oil mingles with the faint, resinous perfume of incense, still drifting from the day's offerings. Somewhere inside, a priest chants in low tones, the sound like a heartbeat in the dusk at the temple steps. A few worshippers remain, heads bowed, hands resting gently against the cool stone, their prayers whispered so quiet I thought even the wind must lean close to. Here, we stand there for a while, watching the flames flicker, the sky deepen from gold to violet, and the first evening star appear above the rooftops. The temple feels like it belongs to both worlds at once, the mortal city and the eternal heavens. Night has settled over Hattusa, cool and clear beneath a silver moon. The air feels softer now, as though the heat of the day has drifted away into the hills. We step once more onto the stone-paved streets, their pale surfaces glowing faintly in the moonlight. The shadows of the buildings are deep and still, broken only by the gentle spill of torchlight from the occasional doorway. The city's busy voice has quieted to a slow, measured rhythm. From somewhere far away, music drifts through the air, the low pluck of strings, and the soft beat of a hand. Drummed out, it sounds less like a performance, and more like a conversation between friends, played for no one but themselves in the night. The scent of cooling earth rises from the streets. In narrow alleys, cats slip quietly between clay walls, their eyes catching the light like tiny sparks. We pass a shuttered market stall, its baskets empty, but still holding the faint memory of spice and grain. The quiet here is deep, not empty, but gentle, like the pause before a dream. Above us, the stars spread in countless points of light, and the moon rests like a silver coin in the sky. The city sleeps, but it feels as though the stones themselves remember every footstep, every voice, every story that has ever passed this way. We keep walking, slowly, until the music fades into the distant scene. The night air wraps around us like a soft blanket. The streets are nearly empty now, and our footsteps echo quietly against the walls. Each step feels unhurried, as though the city itself is guiding us gently toward the place where our journey began. We pass under balconies draped with shadow, their carved wooden railings catching just a touch of moonlight. Somewhere, a clay jar tips in the night breeze, its hollow sound rolling softly through the air before settling again. Ahead, the outline of the great city gates rises against the sky, even in darkness. The massive stones hold their presence, unchanging, steady, as though they have stood this way for 1,000 years. Sand will stand for 1,000 more. The carved lions that guard the entrance seem different by moonlight. Their eyes, once bright in the sun, are now deep pools of shadow. Yet they still watch over all who pass. Silent sentinels of stone. The air grows cooler near the open land beyond the walls. From far outside the city, the faint smell of grass and earth drifts in, carried on a slow night wind. It feels like the end of a long exhale, a quiet release after a day rich with sights, sounds, and stories. We pause for a moment beneath the archway, looking back into the sleeping city. The streets we walked, the markets and temples, the gardens and workshops, all now resting in the gentle stillness of night. When we finally step through the gates, it feels less like leaving Gand, more like carrying a piece of the city with us, tucked quietly into our hearts. Hattusa rests now under a blanket of silver moonlight, its stones holding the warmth of the day deep within. The streets, the gates, the temples, they have seen so many sunrises and sunsets, more than we can ever truly imagine. Each carved stone, each worn step in the road, has felt the passage of countless feet and heard voices and languages now long forgotten. The walls have watched kings and commoners alike, welcoming both with the same silent strength. And yet, here it still stands, the heart of an empire that once ruled the highlands. Now, a quiet echo of its own greatness, but not gone, never gone, for in the stillness of night, when the air is cool, and the world is hushed, you can almost feel the pulse of this ancient place. It is a rhythm older than memory, a steady beat that continues through centuries. Hattusa is not just stone and earth, it is the breath of all who have lived here. The laughter of markets, the solemn whispers of prayers, the hammers ring in the hands of craftsmen. It is the memory of an entire people, woven into the very ground beneath us. As we turn away, the city fades into darkness, but it stays with us. A timeless companion woe story will never truly end. And so, we leave Hattusa behind. The city gates rest in silence, the carved lions keeping their eternal watch. Above, the moon glides slowly across the deep, velvety sky, its light spilling softly over the hills and stones. You feel the cool night air brushing your skin, carrying the faint scent of distant fire sand, the last traces of incense from the temple. Somewhere far away, a quiet note of music drifts and fades. You breathe deeply, the pace of the world slowing, your thoughts drifting like the clouds. The sounds of the day have gone, replaced by the steady heartbeat of the night. Each breath becomes slower, each moment a little softer, until the line between the city's dream and your own begins to blur. Here, in this gentle stillness, you are safe. The stones of Hattusa hold you in their memory. The night cradles you in its quiet arms. Close your eyes, let the ancient city fade into the distance, and drift as fully in sleep.